Hello students and welcome to my channel. My name is Athiru Deshmukh and in the today's video we are going to learn about nutrition in plants part 2. So students, in the last class or video we have studied about what is nutrients, the mode of nutrition in plants and what are autotrophs and heterotrophs. So in this video we are going to learn about photosynthesis and photosynthesis food making process in the plants. So let's start our topic. Leaves are food factors of the plants. Therefore, all the raw materials must reach the leaf. Miss students, the question rises in our mind in the last part or last video, that is, if the plants are making their own food, then where the plants are making their own food. And in this topic we get an answer of this question, that plants make their food in the leaves. So if the plants are making food in the leaves, then all raw materials, what is the raw materials for completing the process of photosynthesis? The raw materials like water, carbon dioxide, minerals and sunlight, this all factors or raw materials must reach to the leaf, because we know that in a process of photosynthesis, if any of the factor or a thing doesn't get, then the photosynthesis process is incomplete. That's why each and every thing must reach to the leaf. Water and minerals present in the soil are absorbed by roots and transported to the leaves. Means students, we know that water is also a thing which help the plant to complete their process of photosynthesis. Then the plants, how does plants absorb that water? The plants absorb that water by the roots and transport that water from the roots to the leaves. Means students, the roots are the parts of the plants which absorb the water from the soil, and they take that water to the leaf by the path of stem. Okay, means from where does the water and minerals get? The water and minerals we get from soil and absorbed by roots. Okay, the carbon dioxide from air is taken in through the tiny pores present in the surface of the leaves. Means students, the tiny spores means we know that the carbon dioxide is also a thing which help the plant to complete the process of photosynthesis. Okay students, then how does the carbon dioxide reach to the plants or the leaves? Then the carbon dioxide is absorbed. The carbon dioxide is absorbed by the tiny spores present on the surface of the leaves. Means on the leaves there are the tiny pores, and that tiny pores are surrounded by, means they are protected by a guard cells. And these pores, what is the pores? Where are they present? The pores which are present on the surface of the leaves, which are helpful to absorb the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, are called as stomata. Means we often hear about if we are learning about what is the plants, then we often hear about what is the stomata, and this is the use of stomata. What is the use of stomata? The use of stomata is the absorb the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Okay, let's move to our next part. Water and minerals are transported to the leaves by vessels which run like pipe throughout the root, the stem, the branches and the leaves. Means students, the water and minerals, we know that water and minerals are absorbed by roots, but how does they are transported to the leaves and many another parts of the plants? They are transported to the leaves or the branches of the tree by vessels which are like pipes, and they run, means they are present in the stem, and that vessels are called as, means that that system is called as vascular system. And what is the vascular system, where it is present, and what are the parts present in the vascular system, we are going to learn in our 11th chapter very nicely or deeply. Okay, let's move to our next sentence. They form a continuous path or a passage for the nutrients to reach the leaf. Means this vessels, what is the vessel? The vascular system. This vascular system are the vessels which are helpful to plants to give a way for the water and minerals to to transport that parts or the transport that water and minerals directly to the leaves. And if there is no vessels present in the leaves, if there are no vessels present in the plant, then I think there will be incomplete process of photosynthesis. Okay, they are called as vessels. You will learn more about transport of materials in plants in chapter 11. Means student, how does the minerals or the waters transport to the leaf? What are the things which are helpful to transport this all things? And this all things we are going to learn in the chapter 11. Let's move to our next topic. The leaves have a green pigment called chlorophyll. Okay, students, the leaves have another one part, important part, very very important part, and that is the chlorophyll. A chlorophyll is a green pigment. A chlorophyll is a green pigment present on the leaves, and it helps leaves to capture the energy of sunlight. This energy is used to synthesize or prepare food from carbon dioxide and water. Me students, we get to know that how does the leaves get the water and minerals, how does the leaf get the carbon dioxide. But we also know that sunlight is also important factor or a thing which is used to complete the process of photosynthesis. And this chlorophyll, these green pigments are useful to absorb the sunlight from the sun. Okay, students, absorb the sunlight from the sun. Okay, and when that sunlight captured by the chlorophyll, when the chlorophyll captured that sunlight, it make a procedure, and it synthesize the or carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and the water from the soil and the sunlight. And when these all things get together, it forms a process of photosynthesis. Okay, since the synthesis of the food occurs in the presence of sunlight, it is called as photosynthesis. Photo means light or synthesis means to combine. Means students, when this process, which process? The process of combination of sunlight, water and minerals, carbon dioxide. And when these things combine together, they form a process called as photosynthesis, and which is used to prepare the food or make the food. And what is meant by photosynthesis? This photosynthesis is the word divided into two main words, and that is photo means light and synthesize means to combine. Means in the process of photosynthesis, the sunlight is a very important factor. Okay, then when that light and the many other substances or the factors came together or combined together, they form a process of photosynthesis. Okay, so we find that chlorophyll, sunlight, carbon dioxide and water are necessary to carry out the process of photosynthesis. Means students, this water, carbon dioxide, then minerals and sunlight are the factors which is used to complete the process of photosynthesis. And if there is no process of photosynthesis, we can't get food, and plants are not able to make their own food. That's why photosynthesis is a process which is a very useful process. Okay, it is a unique process on the earth. So it is a unique process on the earth. Why it is a unique process on the earth? This is a unique process on the earth because on the earth there is only living organism which make the photosynthesis process, and that living organism is plant. Okay, that living organism is called as plant. And these plants are when these plants are making the process of photosynthesis, these plants take a carbon dioxide as a useful gas. But these plants, when they are respiration, when they start the process of respiration, they take the oxygen as a useful gas. Okay, the solar energy is the captured by the leaves and stored in the plants in the form of food. Means students, the solar energy, what is the solar energy? From where does it came? It came from sun, and the sunlight is another name for solar energy. Okay, so students, this solar energy is captured by leaves. Means we know that the stomata, the chlorophyll is the part is the small green pigments which are helpful to capture this solar energy, and when they capture this solar energy, they make the food. Okay, the sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. Means students, the sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms. Why the sun is the ultimate source of energy for all living organisms? Because the sun gives sunlight to human beings, and from the sunlight we know that we get vitamin D. And vitamin D is also useful vitamins. That is, vitamin D is also useful vitamin to our body. Okay, and we know that plants also need sunlight, because if there is no sunlight, plants are not able to make the food. That's why the sun is a very, very ultimate source of energy. Can you imagine life on the earth in the absence of photosynthesis? Miss students, can you imagine? The question asked by the book is, can you imagine if there is no process of photosynthesis, if the plants are not making the process of photosynthesis, then how do we live? We can't live. Why we can't live? Because due to the process of photosynthesis we are living, because this photosynthesis process help us to give food. If there is no photosynthesis process, we can't eat, we can't get food. That's why, and we know that without food we can't live. Okay, means the process of photosynthesis is a very important process. Okay, in the absence of photosynthesis there would be no food. Means if there is no photosynthesis process, no food. Okay, the survival of almost all living organisms directly or indirectly depend on the food made by plants. Besides oxygen, which is essential for the survival. Means students, we know that plants are making the food. By the process of photosynthesis, and if there is no photosynthesis process, no food we can't get. We can't get the process of, means we can't get the food. Okay students, and the another part, if there is no plants, we can't get oxygen, and we know that oxygen is a very important gas. And without oxygen we can't live. Okay, and plants also give oxygen as a useless gas. Okay students, so let's move to our next parts. And students, on this page there is also a small box, and that is for our information, and that is about cells. Now students, we are learning about plants, human beings and animals, and how does they make food, how does they get food, how does they synthesize food, from where does they get food. But this food on the other hand, we know that plants need food also, oxygen also. But plants and animals also need cells. If there is no cells, we can't live, because our body parts are, all of these body parts are dependent on the cell or made up of the cells. So let's know about the cells. You have seen that buildings are made up of bricks. Similarly, the bodies of living organisms are made up of tiny units called cells. Means students, we know that we often see that the buildings are made up of bricks. Means if we can't make the building by the bricks, because the bricks give the shape, or bricks give a stand for the wall or the home or buildings. Okay students, and as like that, we know that if there is no bricks, the building cannot be built. As like that, the human beings, if the human beings doesn't have any cell, then the human being can't live. Okay, and this unit means in this cell is a very tiny units, because we can't see that cells with our naked eyes. We have to see it by the microscope. Cells can be seen only under the microscope. Some organisms are made up of only one cells. Means students, the cells are the functional and structural unit of the life. Without cell we can't live. Okay students, and we can't see the cell by our naked eyes. We have to take microscope and we have to see that cell. Okay, and there are some animals which are of made up of only one cell. They are made up of only one cell, and those organisms are called as unicellular organisms. Means a organism which have only one cell, those organisms are called as unicellular organisms. And those animals which have more than two cells, that organisms are called as multicellular organisms. So what is the example of unicellular organism? The unicellular organism like amoeba and euglena. And the example of multicellular organism are human beings and plants. Means we all human beings are made up of thousands and billions of cells. Okay students, this cell is enclosed by a thin outer boundary called as cell membrane. Means students, the cell is enclosed, means cell has been protected by a thin outer boundary called as cell membrane. Okay students, most cells have distinct centrally located spiral structure called the nucleus. Means students, the cell membrane have the most distinct centrally located spiral structure called as nucleus. Means every cell means the above the cell membrane there is another structure called as nucleus, and nucleus is also very important part of the cell. Okay students, the nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. Means students, this nucleus is surrounded by a jelly-like substance called as cytoplasm. Means the nucleus is the center of the cell, Okay students, and this nucleus is surrounded by many jelly-like structures that is called as cytoplasm. Means what are the parts of cells, the first part is cell membrane. Where it is located? It is located at the outer boundary and it is to protect the cell. Okay, the second part is nucleus. The what is nucleus? Nucleus is the structure which is present in the center of the cell. Okay, and the next is cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? It is a jelly like structure surrounded by a nucleus, means around the nucleus there is a jelly like structure called as cytoplasm. And what are the animals which are only one cell? That animals are called as unicellular organisms, and the animals or organisms which have more than two cells are called as multicellular organisms. So students, if you like my video, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.